G'day YouTube, Max right here, and a brand new style of video today. Bitcoin gurus. We're going to see what the gurus are saying about Bitcoin, just short, sharp clips to give you the punchy information about what's going on in the crypto world. If you like this style of video, please let me know with your comments below. Smash the like button, subscribe to this channel, and if you like this stuff, I will make it a regular feature of the channel. If you're new to the channel, we do talk about all things crypto, news, charting, technical analysis, and the big macro picture about what's happening in the greater geopolitical atmosphere, which is what's driving the Bitcoin right now. So, over to the gurus. Here we go.
Let me tell you, the apocalypse is coming, and you're going to need a Bitcoin. At least one.
Just Are you a Bitcoin salesman?
No.
Well, Bitcoin is exciting because it shows how cheap it can be. Bitcoin is better than currency in that you don't have to be physically in the same place. And, of course, for large transactions, currency can get pretty inconvenient.
To the internet, I believe the internet will have a native currency.
Really?
It'll have a native currency. And I don't know if it's Bitcoin. I think it will, because just given all the tests it's been through and the principles behind it, how it was created, and you know, it was something that was born on the internet, that was developed on the internet, that it was tested on the internet. It is of the internet.
Money as pure information on an open network that is simultaneously uncensorable, open to anyone, neutral, and global. There are no borders on this new technology, just like there are no borders on the internet. Everyone can access it because it is not a product. It is not a company. You do not need to register for an account. You simply download the client. And a Bitcoin client is very much like a web browser. It is the user interface that speaks the protocol to other Bitcoin clients out there. And as soon as you download that one application, you can join a global economy. And that global economy is open to anyone of any race, religion, creed, ethnicity, age, anywhere in the world. For most people, this concept hasn't yet quite sunk in. The children born today will not know a world in which banks exist. They will not know a world in which paper money exists, any more than many of the young people in our industry today have no idea what the world used to look like before the internet.
But Bitcoin and things like it is the equivalent of the red pill, okay? We are entering a completely world of uncharted water right now.
Have you made any investments in Bitcoin?
So, I mean, I personally own Bitcoin in my hedge fund. I own Bitcoin in my fund. I own Bitcoin in my private account. It is a huge deal. It's a huge, huge, huge deal. Because what you're talking about right now is, for the next 3 to 5 years, an unbelievably better store of value. It is gold 2.0, right? The value of gold that hedges the world economy, about $9 trillion, right? 1,300 an ounce, of which only $100 to $150 is the actual production value. So all the rest of it is imputed, where, Lena, you and I have decided that it's worth 1,300 an ounce. Well, guess what? I can do the same thing with Bitcoin, except now I can do it outside the purview of every single government. It's being used everywhere where you would think it would be used. Russia, Iran, Iraq, Egypt, Venezuela, Argentina, everywhere where you have currency pressure, everywhere where you want to basically shield your assets. And then after that, it'll probably become a payment mechanism. So in all of these three industries, you're talking about trillions of dollars up for grabs. Up for grabs.
You see an adoption of Bitcoin?
For sure. It's all got to come in waves, right? It started with retail. It's started to move into hedge funds. We're not there yet. You can't prime broke Bitcoin assets, but that's coming. We're starting to see family offices in the space. Next is the institutions, the endowments, the pension plans. And within that, you'll find some government, it'll be somebody like Nicaragua or somebody will suddenly say, we've allocated 5% to Bitcoin. Somebody who's always had problems with currency devaluation. That's going to come, and it's going to be another huge story, much like the Michael Saylor story, that will come out of nowhere, and everyone's going to go, huh, that's just changed the world again.
It does not belong to any government. It's not controlled by any bank. Bitcoin isn't a company or product or a service. It's an internet protocol. It's a method of communication, just like we say the web or email, and that doesn't belong to anyone. It's a shared common public good on the internet. Bitcoin is a digital currency and payment system that is a shared good, and it is controlled collectively by the participants in the network. And creating a currency that does not belong to a nation seems weird at first. But then again, we used to have airlines that only existed for one nation and had the flag on the tail, right? Flag carriers, they call them. And phone companies that were monopolies in one nation and had the flag on them. And now that seems absurd. And I think within 20 years, the idea of national currencies as the only option will seem absurd.
I think that as investors start to understand the Bitcoin story, they're going to migrate their capital on the Bitcoin network, and that's going to create a virtuous cycle of adoption, followed by price appreciation, followed by value accretion, followed by technology integration from companies like, you see Square and PayPal. It'll be Apple and Google shortly. That's going to drive more adoption. And that means that you really want to plug your company into the Bitcoin monetary network, right? It's probably the biggest thing that's happened over the past decade. It's going to be bigger than the FANG stocks. It's going to be bigger than Apple, Amazon, Facebook, the social networks. And it's the ideal time to plug into it because 99% of the investors don't understand what I just said. And with $350 billion of monetary energy in the Bitcoin network, it's all but unstoppable at this point.
So I just look at this and like, how do we embrace this technology, not react to it in more from a threat standpoint, but like, what does it enable us to do and where does our value shift? And that's what we should be talking about right now is like how our value shifts. And there's always really strong answers to that question. But if you're not willing to ask the question in the first place, you will become irrelevant because technology will just continue to march on and make you irrelevant. And it's the people that like are growing up with this technology or born with the technology, only knowing that technology, or are asking the tough questions of themselves that they're going to be super disruptive to their business. And they're thinking about it right now, and they're taking actions. And we're doing that at Square, and we're doing that at Twitter.
There's going to be a menu of many cryptocurrencies, and they're going to rethink the entire internet and how we sort of view it. You could never buy a piece of the internet back in the 90s. You couldn't buy the protocols. You could invest in a VC firm on Sand Hill Road that had to pick Amazon versus Pets.com. So you had to get lucky. You had to be very privileged and get lucky many times to get it. Now you can just buy a piece of the protocol. So buying Bitcoin is like a call option on the entire Bitcoin ecosystem. A Bitcoin company will not work out before Bitcoin works out itself first. So the ultimate Bitcoin bet is Bitcoin.
One can pay for a tour on Virgin Galactic up to the moon with Bitcoin. I think the Winklevoss twins have said that they would do exactly that. Do you think this is a currency that's really going to work eventually?
Well, I think it is working.
It's volatile.
Yeah, but it is quite volatile. But when in volatility, people can make money out of volatile situations.
Why was it important for you to give it sort of that stamp of approval, that endorsement, by saying to the Winklevoss twins, yes, you can pay for the ride with Bitcoin?
Because I'm not foolish.
Central banks are trying to pump money into the system to keep it afloat, to plug this hole. But what happens is that the dollar supply keeps increasing, the euros, the pounds, whatever. So your dollar used to be a certain percentage of all the dollars in circulation. And now that percentage is a lot lower. And so prices are going up. That's the result of inflation. When you print more money at a faster rate than the economy grows, which means all of your dollars can purchase less.
Yep.
So when you put your values in a dollar, it is actually degrading over time.
But if we simply swept the cash into fiat currency and allowed it to debase at 15% a year, we'd be losing as much on the balance sheet as we generated from the P&L. So that didn't make sense. On the other hand, the traditional concerns about Bitcoin have been that it might be hacked, it might be copied, it might be banned. And after a decade, it hasn't been hacked. No one's managed to copy it. It's not going to be banned. So although people look at it as being volatile, it's volatile maybe in the first decade. The next decade going forward, it doesn't look like it's going to be that volatile. It actually looks like it's emerging as the primary Treasury Reserve asset for people that are looking for some way to avoid the great monetary inflation.
Thanks so much for watching. Remember, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. On this channel, I've given some absolutely incredible and epic Bitcoin and Ethereum predictions that have just had incredible accuracy. You can check out the history of my predictions and my future predictions if you click on my icon below and go to my channel. Right there on the homepage of the channel, there's a history of my predictions that have come true. This is the place to find out where Bitcoin is going to in the future. So guys, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you soon.